If I were to ask you what a cryptocurrency is, you are most likely to respond this. A cryptocurrency is a digital currency based on a network that is scattered across a huge number of computers. The decentralized system of cryptocurrency makes it faster and cheaper to transfer money. There are numerous events that are making waves in the world of cryptocurrency, but what is the fundamental need for knowing about this asset class? What am I missing on if I don't know about this? We do some first principles thinking in this podcast for a deep conversation on the innate need for knowing about it. How will the map look like if crypto were a country? And what really are the mechanics of building a crypto exchange? I speak with Vikram Subburaj, CEO and co founder, Giottus Technologies, which claims to be India's leading cryptocurrency exchange to buy, sell, and trade Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and so on. In a very recent development, Giottus is set to offer zero free crypto trades for its customers, eliminating trading fees entirely on trades made on its platform. Vikram, I would like to sort of begin the conversation understanding from you about this entire narrative about crypto investing. And it's interesting because some time back we also had Mithrex founders on this platform and we're sort of interestingly sort of talking with them about this entire financial sort of wealth creation and what role does crypto really play there?
Yeah, so let me take even a step back from that. Now, crypto does not play a game only in the financial sector, right? Currently, since we are focusing a lot on trading, prices, wealth building, maybe there's a lot of talk about, okay, crypto is for financial wealth building, financial freedom, and all that, right? But crypto is much more stronger and powerful than that. It is a kind of a parallel technology. For example, internet is a parallel technology. When internet came up, not just digital industries, any other industry, be it from your the most simplest example where even the postcards changed to an email, your ride sharing apps and everything came into being. Suddenly, new industries get created when a parallel technology comes into being, right? Or a horizontal technology that comes into an act. Crypto is one such a thing, right? Now it is a horizontal technology. What it solves is it solves creating a network in a decentralized way, right? Now that will sound a lot technical. So let me just take the tech part out of it right now. When you see any industry, let's take email as an industry, right? Gmail as an industry. What is happening? You have a Gmail account, couple of your friends have a Gmail account. Now you're part of the Gmail network where messages can pass between you seamlessly, right? Now, but you have a Google sitting in the center, right? Now, obviously, if you guys have gone through all the allegations and everything, the bot is reading, they are reading, or suddenly once you get a message of someone talking about a watch, you get an ad that pops up saying about, or trying to sell you the watch or something, right? So this network, when it is held by corporates or a centralized entity, it will always work for the benefit of the owner of the network, right? Now, the simple example what I quoted was email. Now you can just take it up to, for example, a ride sharing app, right? Now, all the benefits and all the value of such a setup or such a network will only lie with the entity which is creating it, right? Or the corporate which is creating it. Now, that's when cryptocurrencies come into being, wherein they try to see if that value can be spread across to everyone, right? There can be a ride sharing app that can be created on a blockchain. There can be an email that can be created on a blockchain, right? There can be a news network that can be created on the blockchain, right?
Absolutely.
Now the only thing when people get confused is, okay, where are these use cases? You're saying a lot about this. Now, where are these use cases, right? Now, I don't see a news network there which is running on blockchain. I don't see a ride sharing app which is predominantly large enough like Ola or Uber, right? But where are they? Right? So now let's consider. Currently, we are at the stage of where we used to have those dial-up connections, right? 56 kbps, where the network is really slow. It can do certain things, but the promise of what it can do is much more, right? We are at that stage now. There are limitations of transactions per second, which is being solved, right? See, for example, yesterday we were all celebrating that Bitcoin reached 1 billion transactions, right? Now, when I was saying this to one of my friends, he was like, "But UPI reached 1 billion transactions within a year of launch. So what are you guys celebrating about, right?"
Yeah.
That's when I had to say it. So these are not just 1 billion transactions. These are 1 billion transactions without any centralized entity or someone sitting in the center and saying, "This is the right thing to do," or "This is the wrong thing to do," right? So these are secure transactions which happen without anyone who's sitting in the center and dictating,
So, Vikram,
right?
one can understand the importance of technology, secure technology, closed network within the peer to peer system. So, we're talking really about the blockchain technology here, right? It's decentralized. And one can understand the motivations of the West for adopting the blockchain technology. There essentially was this fundamental confidence in the financial system was shaken, and that pretty much formed the genesis of, say, cryptocurrency or blockchain, that we will have something decentralized, very limited coins in circulation or limited things in circulation, but we're going to control it. We will not have a central entity controlling the fortunes of that game, whatever it is. That game is retail, that game is, like you said, ride sharing, that game is currency. When it comes to India, we have a pretty solid financial system. We have, I would say, RBI is actually doing a fantastic job in terms of systems and processes. Fintech entrepreneurs can have some grievances there. But just in terms of how formidable our banking institution is, it's pretty strong. Where do you think is the need, the basic premise of owning the crypto coin or blockchain as a technology comes in? Maybe I'll come to blockchain later, but for crypto, I want to understand this, that is there a fundamental need for me as a person who, say, the salaried individual earning 1.1.5 lakhs a month? What is this innate need for me to know about crypto?
Yeah, wonderful. So let me take these arguments in two parts, right? Now, the moment the argument is taken in the point of view that, okay, now, why should there be a challenger for the Indian financial system, right? Or the Indian rupee? When the argument gets in this role, it is actually trying to put so much weight on cryptocurrency to start proving a lot from the 10th year of its launch itself, right? Now let's take a step back, right? We don't want a challenger, right? Let's consider that the use cases of INR are so amazing. Uh, they are going to be there, right? And we don't want to have a scenario wherein crypto comes and takes over INR and wipes out INR. Actually, as a matter of fact, the bigger worry is not what the Indian government should have, because the globally traded currency is USD, right? It is a big challenger for USD because INR doesn't play a major part in global world trades, right? Now, crypto is, if it is so easy to transfer, so easy to do bookkeeping, so easy to do clearing, then the first person who should be worried is US markets. And they are worried. That is why you're seeing every single large financial institution getting into crypto or investing in some form of a crypto entity they're investing into. Now let's come to the Indian story, right? Now,
Mhm.
part A, okay, let's not get into this whole discussion about if it's going to wipe out the iron, right? If the product is good, if it is doing some meaningful thing that is good for the customer, it is going to happen, right? Let's not go into that argument. Let's go into another argument. Now, we don't want to have a setup wherein what I am using, what my son is going to use or my daughter is going to use, the way the technology is going to be used by these people, I don't want a corporate to be deciding that, right? Let's start seeing this whole generation from the point of view. Now, computers entered into my life when I was in my 10th standard, right? Now, computer is entering, or any digital tech is entering into kids' life from the day they were born, right? My daughter, who's just 2.5 years old, knows how to operate YouTube, which is not really proud of what I'm saying, but that's the state that we are in. Now, do we want a centralized corporate entity to dictate the terms of this digital media for what my kids are going to use or what I am going to use? I don't want that to happen. I don't want another California Analytics to come up and say that, hey, we rigged your whole mind space, right? And this is how the elections happen, right? We don't want that. Now, if we don't want that, which all happened in a regulated environment, no? It did not happen in an unregulated environment. So if I don't want to happen that, now how these tech in the future should happen, we should have a say, right? We should have a say in the part that, okay, I want the rules of this tech to be defined by me, right? That's when we are starting to look into having a decentralized system. So if there is for example, a competitor for YouTube in the crypto world, then I will try to have an ownership in it so that I can vote for all the rules there, right? What can be done, what cannot be done. I'll have a say in that whole ecosystem. So, from that perspective, all these companies are all fledgling YouTubes or Gmails or your Googles or your Netflixes who are at this point when what Google launched earlier, right? Now these could be really good acquisition targets for big VCs. They're like, yeah, the tech is really good. It's showing a lot of future prospects. So let's go invest in it, right? But what about retail? Retail is usually away from all such products, right? Now, this is a way for retail to get in. Now, then the question comes up. Now, then you want retail to take such bets which are very volatile, which they should not be taking and all that. Now, ideally, that's what even I suggest, right? Now, if you have 100 rupees to spend, you should not spend more than 2 to 3 rupees in cryptocurrencies, right? Which is 2 to 3% of your portfolio, right? Now, what it does is this 2 to 3% you're investing for something, considering that in future it is going to do all these use cases or show all these benefits of use cases, right? And how would you do that? But also reading on what is happening currently. Now, are they showing promise? Are they going to deliver all this? Is it going to be better enough than the existing system, right? If some product is good and it is showing a lot of promise to beat the existing system, then what is wrong allowing an Indian investor to go invest in it?
Thanks for this, Vikram. This was the first time I must tell you in my podcast that somebody has been able to answer the question, the innate need for a decentralized system, or for someone like me to actually think about owning a crypto space. So basically, if I'm thinking about crypto, I'm actually thinking about a monetary system, a means of barter, a means of exchange on how the future economy will be built. I am not buying into crypto right now, thinking of how to exchange goods and services in the current economy. No. I'm basically taking this piece of crypto, taking a bet on businesses which are being built for the future. And which are these businesses? Like you rightly mentioned, content companies, creator economy, which basically want to now uh, have their fan base redeem them by NFTs or cryptos, right? So basically, if you and I are somebody who is taking a crypto coin, we are essentially giving a validation or affirming that I want to hold the piece of the future or the future capitalism, so to speak, right? Great point. I want to now understand from you, Vikram. So, what are the rules of the game for this economy? If crypto were a nation, how will that map look like? Who will lay down the infrastructure? Will the infrastructure be, because typically the infrastructure is laid down by the likes of Google's and Microsoft and Amazon, the big tech. How will a map of a crypto world or crypto country look like?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question here because there is Mr. Balaji. He's also writing or he's a very big proponent of this whole thing on the nation state theory, right? Wherein let's consider leave the physical presence of people in all these nations. Let us consider people come and then uh, they are investing or they're part of ownership. They have an ownership of a particular cryptocurrency or a particular crypto project, right? In that project, they are having a say on what should be the rules of the project, or who should be or how should be this network working. Now, when they start defining the rules, games, and also the punishments, and also the punishments are monetary punishments, right? See, for example, if you do something wrong, X, Y, Z percentage will be deducted, or you will not be allowed into the network for so and so. So you can define these rules by having an ownership in this network. Now, when such a thing happens, just imagine if that network goes really big. You're actually having a decentralized nation with people sitting around different parts of the world, right? Now, imagine in a smaller format, this network is for a gaming, right? Most of the parents would understand if I say Minecraft and Roblox. If let's understand for such a gaming system, this network is defining rules, right? Now this becomes a nation altogether. Yeah, they define rules, they define characteristics, they define habits. Now there's a culture will that get formed, and this network lies around for for quite a decade or something. A new culture will get developed if the network survives, right? Now the nation here will get created by these decentralized entities sitting at different parts of the world, right? They don't have to come together, be physically present, but they will be sitting at different parts of the world, and they will also grow to the level of also affecting the existing nations. So that is extremely futuristic, right? If this network wants a particular existing law that will help them create this network much more stronger, then different countries' elections would also be affected by this network, right? Because they're decentralized sitting across the world, right? But this is very very futuristic. We don't have that much of an adoption yet, but that's how a nation per se here will get formed, right?
Yeah, I'm just talking about from the perspective of really talking about how the crypto world will look like, right? I mean, say 10
So yeah,
years from now, 10 years from now, content companies will become very big. Personalities, the content creators will perhaps become bigger than some corporations. Uh, will data be the new oil? That paradigm will sort of hugely shift. AI would have taken over majorly. So, what really are the future modes of capitalism that we are talking about? Because I'm sure in your product meet, you're having these conversations day in and day out because you're building a crypto exchange at the end of the day. So you must identify 10 sectors or say 15 sectors which will completely get cryptoized, for example. What would those really be?
wonderful. So yeah, so see from that perspective, the obviously the straightforward use case which has already been solved, and already it has shown that much better than all the existing system, is the payments and the remittance market, right? Now, the only area or challenge where the adoption has not grown drastically yet is because of the regulations, right? Now, once you also saw the Indian government coming out and saying during G20 that all countries should come together to build a common regulatory framework. There's actually a lot of work happening there. Now, when there is a common regulatory framework that will set in, the tech is already there, the tech is already ready, right? It just has to get the regulatory approval, so there's a lot of adoption. So the first area where you will see is the remittance and the payments market. As a matter of fact, the first players, once there is a regulatory clarity that kicks in, who will get onboarded is all the financial institutions, existing fintech institutions. They would want to onboard into this ecosystem because they know it is much, much better. It makes their life so easy. It will also give them more returns for their capital, which is much more important, right? It will not let their capital be idle because settlement is instant, right? So that is the first industry that will come in. The next industry, which is gonna obviously have a lot of impact, is uh, the TradFi. So the existing traditional finance, which is used for trading, right? Not just remittance markets. It could also go to the markets of other financial things, like for example lending, or it could be something into converting a real world asset into a token, right? RWAs are growing drastically. Again, the challenge there being the regulatory hurdles. So I'm just taking up those industries where the hurdle is only regulatory, not the product, right? And why I'm taking up these things are, uh, because the amount of monetary gain it is going to give to the people who are going to adopt is much, much higher than their existing systems and processes. So there will be some way or other when the nations which are showing a lot of interest in coming together, when they solve that, this piece moves exponentially, right? Now, on a parallel side to this, right, where there is no headaches of regulatory and other areas, and where adoption is so drastic for cryptocurrencies, are the gaming industry, right? Gaming industry understands this much more easier. Gaming industry has an imminent need in the form of NFTs, right? NFTs are going to be really big in the gaming industry. Most of the larger existing gaming companies have jumped into NFT. So that will be one big industry which is going to drastically adopt cryptos in the form of NFT. That is why I say it's more critical, right? You're going to have your current generation who are kids who are going to easily touch NFTs or cryptos, who are going to know them much better, like how your kids know about YouTube or, I mean, current, I mean, my kids who know about the existing games and everything so easily, much more, they understand it much more better than I do, right? So these kids are going to understand crypto much more better than how we are understanding. It's going to become native for them, right? So these are the key industries where there is going to be extremely great adoption. And you'll see quickly a lot of these areas getting resolved, right? So from 10 years from now, most of the infrastructure behind your payments and your remittance markets or any settlement market will be handled through cryptocurrency networks,
That
right?
is where sort of you come in. So you will have those advantages, the 4, 5 networks who are building the infrastructure, who are building the pipeline for it, right?
Yeah.
So I understood what you're trying to tell me. So what business are you in exactly? Who are your business? Is am I your client or is SBI your client? Are you trying to tell and convince an SBI that listen, the regulatory hurdles, but I can convert this product for you, right? I can actually make you crypto, I can cryptoize you essentially, for a want of a better word, right? Or someone like me who say, okay, I have 1 lakh salary per month, what can I do in your exchange, like on some trading? So who exactly is your client?
Yeah. So let me put it this way, right? Let's first get this first fact that crypto industry as such, for a lot of people and institution, is alien, right? Or it's a tough industry, or it's too much of jargons of the high tech industry, right? Now, when there is too much of jargons and it's very high tech and it's a tough industry, you need someone who can speak your language, right? And you need someone who can handhold you and get you to the ecosystem, right? And make it look like it is not that tough as it looks. One of our, I mean, our key motto when we started Giottus was simplicity at the far end of complexity, right? You are there in a very complex industry, but how do I deliver it in a simple way? Is the whole job that what I'm going to do. Now, this industry is catering obviously to retail customers, is catering also to institutional customers. So, be it someone who's having a 1 lakh balance or be it someone who's having a 1 crore balance like SBI, right? The problem statement remains the same, that how do I onboard into crypto ecosystem without having fears, without having confusions, and having data for me to analyze myself, right? So we cater to both the retail customer and also to the institutional players who have a problem statement saying, okay, now we want to look into opportunities into crypto ecosystem, right? So what we are an exchange as of now, right? When you have your INR and you want to buy a cryptocurrency, you want to get something into the crypto or you want to onboard into the crypto, we are there to help you out with this process of conversions, right? But there are obviously much more in this ecosystem than conversions. We obviously offer a lot of other products in terms of investment areas, right? Be it staking and fixed rewards and all the areas where you can get returns if you're holding a crypto, right? SIPs and all those things, what you see in a general financial institution or another broking institutions in equity markets. Similar to that, we also have in Giottus, wherein you can onboard. After you onboard, you have opportunities to grow your wealth in the ecosystem. That is the current focus and everything, right? From a larger perspective, obviously, when the market opens up from the regulatory point of view, it will grow to a level of a larger financial institution wherein you see a bank having a retail banking, a bank having a wealth management team, a bank having their institutional team, an IB team, where they offer all financial services. But if you see what they're actually doing is the customer is having a problem which has to do with money. They will take care of it,
So
right?
that will be your real takeoff point, right?
Yes,
When
yeah.
someone like an HDFC Bank or an SBI comes to you, Vikram, and says that, listen, how can I become a very influential player in the crypto ecosystem? And you enable that to happen, right? So it's almost like traditional companies trying to basically become more and more AI savvy, right? So you basically take them on that path, on their journey. Suppose if I am a small startup, which I am, and I come to you and say that, can you build a cryptocurrency around my startup? Is that something which you would be able to do?
No, so we don't provide services of building cryptocurrency. So we are a platform, we are a product where you can buy and sell cryptos. You can use us for your liquidities, uh, and use you can use us for other services like OTCs, and also, for example, if you already have bought cryptos and you want to earn by just holding it, you can use staking and fixed rewards and all that, right? We don't do services, but obviously there are a lot of Indian entities who do services. As a matter of fact, while we are all debating if crypto is needed for India or not, most of the developers for all these crypto projects are based out of India.
I
We
can
have a Yeah, we
imagine.
have all the talent here who's building for the world outside. But yeah, we are still
Which
yet
is
to,
sad. Which
yeah,
is
which is sad. Yeah, we build for the world. I think soon we should start building for India, right? So yeah, so that's where we stand. We don't build the products, but once a product is built and they want to serve the Indian customers, right? They will definitely need us, right? See, for example, let's consider that you have your crypto product that you've launched, wherein customers can pay in crypto and use your content, right? But you as a business would not be wanting to hold crypto, right? Because you cannot pay your employees, or you can pay your employees salary, but you cannot buy papers or you cannot buy your stationery with all the cryptos yet, right? So you want to quickly convert it into INR, right? That's where we will come and help you out, right? Whatever you get as crypto, we'll quickly convert it into INR and deposit back, right? So it's a form of a payment mechanism which is there, which is still not there yet because of regulatory clarity, right? But yeah, once the market or the regulatory clarity comes in, all this will become way too easy.
understood. So you're basically like the NSC. What NSC is for INR, you are for the crypto economy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
do you know the largest transaction in the private market space recently happened in NSC? So
yeah, yeah,
you are in the right direction, especially for the future economy.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
now, Vikram, let's talk about the organization, Giottus, right? How did you think that you have now gotten your product market fit correct? And do you think that was not so much of a hard work, just given the fact that there was validation? There are about 8 to 10 players already in the market. There is a lot of VC love that has already gone into this space. So, did you have to toil quite a bit for getting your product market fit correct?
Right. I'll put it this way. Are the 8 to 10 guys who are out there? We are the only guys who are bootstrapped. And we are the only guys who have been bootstrapped, and we could be somewhere in the third or fourth, second or third in the volumes, right? So all the 8 to 10 guys who raised funds, they were not able to get the product market fit what we were able to achieve, right? So
That's
that's
amazing.
ideally, yeah, that's
That's
ideally where we come in, right? So I didn't spend like 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees to acquire my customer, right? It's just my product, which we had a referral program, which is still one of our successful programs that we have, right? So most of my customers have come through referrals. People have used the product. So if I'm talking about a million and a half customer base now, it is only through referrals, right? I'm not given on onboarding, you will get 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, nothing like that, right? The ideal product market fit, it is actually a funny way to look at it. When we launched, within a week of launch, there was this RBI circular that restricted crypto entities from having a banking access. Now we are talking about 10 or 12 odd exchanges which are out here. There were 50 odd exchanges in 2018, right, when we came live. Now, those 50 odd exchanges, once this banking restriction came into being, got reduced to 8 exchanges at the max, right? Rest are all went out of the industry. Now, initially, even I was a lot worried, right? But that's when things actually turned out good for us because we didn't have to find 50 people or fight 50 people. We had to fight only 8 people, right? It made our job much more clearer, right? Those 2 years, till the time there was a Supreme Court verdict which lifted this ban, those 2 years, we had created other models through which customers can, buy and sell in cryptos in India. And we were first in the market to launch these models. And we got a customer base, right? And that spread in as a word of mouth and through referrals and everything. And that's how we got our initial customer base. Uh, uh, which is something, now on hindsight, though, initially I would have felt that, it's such a bad thing to have gone live with, but on hindsight, it has really worked out for us, right? We really got that push that we as a startup needed, right, in fighting the competition in the market.
So you are
Uh,
basically anti-fragile. So basically you've proven your best when there was so much stress, right? There was that stress did not break you, but you actually performed much better there. So what were those models, if I were asked, that could actually beat the regulatory intervention also?
yeah. I'll just, since you took anti-fragile, I'll take this opportunity and I'll use Batman here. Yeah, yeah. We didn't see, we were not in dark, right? We were born in dark because as soon as we launched, right, it was RBA who was showing us all darkness, right? Yeah. The market is also, see, actually, it is, again, on hindsight, it looks like it is all good, right? Because it's a cyclical industry. Now, if I'm going to have a year or 2 years of bull market, then I'll have to have my operations, my whole system running in a way that if there's a bear market that is going to come like what we got in the last year, we should not be breaking down, right? We should be easily able to cross it, right? And we crossed all these bear markets, RBA bans, and everything being bootstrapped, right? Now that level, if you have to get into, right, you'll have to make sure that you are extremely process oriented, right? Now, when you're process oriented, I think any of these bear markets should not be a tougher thing for you to cross. I'm sorry, Srija, I missed your question by
What
quoting
were
Batman.
what were the models? You spoke about that you created some models with which you can actually with you got your initial customer base. So I was
Yeah,
curious to know what were those
yeah,
models.
yeah. See, I'm one of the big proponents of customer support. Uh, Initially, when we launched, the first thing that was going in our mind is, though it is a high tech field, the tech here can easily be copied, right? If I build a really good tech, my competition can also build it within the next 3 to 6 months, right? So that is not going to give me a differentiator at all. So that's when since I also come from a background of Amazon, we started believing the fact that, okay, we will build something where people will be able to feel it that, these guys care for us, right? So that's when we started doing things a lot around customer support. From the day one we launched, we were the first guys who gave multilingual support. We were the first guys who gave 24 bar 7 customer support. Now, even now, we do take a lot of calls which has nothing to do with operations or anything, or general cryptocurrency. Someone wants to generally have a discussion, we do take the calls. We don't say no to a call which is related to a crypto, right? We don't obviously provide an advice or a suggestion on go invest in here and there, but we don't take a no, or we don't say no for an answer if it has to do something with any query with crypto, right? Even if it is a query which has to do that, okay, now I have something which is stuck in, for example, I have some issue which is having Mudrex. What should I do? We still answer, right? We're not going to say no, right? So what this created was we had customers coming to us since they were feeling comfortable. This is much more important, Srija, because there was a reason why I came into this ecosystem to start an exchange. Because during my time in Amazon, me and Arjun, we both were trading in cryptocurrencies. Right? We never thought that we'll start an exchange. But what happened during one of those times, I transferred a good amount to one of the existing exchanges, Indian exchanges, and the fund did not reflect in the account yet,
Oh,
right? But it's okay. See, now banking issues, no one can have a say, right? It was some banking issue. Even now there are banking issues. But what happened for me to reach out and to get this issue resolved, it took 1 week, right? Now imagine
it was
an
painful.
an unregulated ecosystem. Okay, we are not registered, we are not licensed, and someone like us, you're transferring the money to buy crypto, and you don't get an answer back, right? So that is the pain, right? Now, but if you reverse this whole thing, right? Now, where it is, the customer feels it is so easy to reach these guys, right? Even if it is such a stupid question, these guys are so easy to reach. If I revert this whole thing, then that's the comfort I'm talking about, right? Even if, for example, I have some issue in my product, my customers will still prefer me because they're much more comfortable with,
Hmm.
right? So this is the word that we spread,
So the trust
right?
building, it's a trust building exercise. So you're
It's
trying
a
to build
trust.
trust. You're trying to build that community. And I think I like the way you sort of took the example of Mudrex. Otherwise, somebody would say competition, but like the real pioneers of the crypto ecosystem would actually respond to somebody, even if somebody is not getting money out somewhere else. So you're basically trying to, in a way, demystify and also educate the market a lot about the crypto ecosystem. Because like you said, and I can understand from being from an entrepreneurial perspective where your challenges come, because from a regulatory perspective the legitimacy is not there for the crypto ecosystem, number one. And second, the way you felt so stranded when your money got sort of fixed because of the crypto exchange. Suddenly think about someone who has hard earned salary now gone to buy crypto, and you can't even knock the doors of the regulators because they will also not help you, because they have also said very clearly that this is akin to gambling. So what does one really do? So there are real challenges, but I would also say that the biggest, what can really make or mar the trajectory of crypto exchanges or crypto startup founders is the regulation. The regulation can have a very big impact on this space. And so, what really is your conversation with the regulators? Where is the impasse? Where is it that, because one can understand this constant slugfest that happens between regulation and technology, because technology evolves much faster and regulation is playing to catch up. But where is it that our regulators are not getting the required comfort that they want to have for crypto?
So, let me put it this way, right? So, for the regulations to come in, the problem should be very clear, right? And I think we have, from the crypto industry, we all have made sure that the problems are very clear, what are problems we're creating, right? Now, it is not just an Indian issue. Now, usually when it comes to regulations, RegTech, we usually say, the developing countries are catching up, they don't respond as good as a developed country, right? But it is not the case in this ecosystem first, right? The problems are across. Now you see even in the US, right, where they're issuing Wells notice to everyone, right? Even Robinhood got a notice, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah. So it is more of it is a new product, and in the Indian government when they quoted this, they were actually right in saying that now there should be a common regulatory framework that has to be discussed, right? Now, obviously there are countries like Singapore, there are Australia, and Dubai is just trying to get clarity of the regulations out there. which are uh, which have gone ahead and tried to solve this problem much better than others, right? Now, now for that, I cannot start blaming the fact that okay, then we should have also run faster than them, and try to solve it, right? From the regulatory perspective, from the Indian scenario, what is actually needed is the tax pain what we are currently having, right? Now we understand regulating cryptocurrency is not an easy task,
Hmm.
right? We can only start in a phased manner, right? You first start with, for example, a consumer protection. Right now, you're talking about, a customer, where will he go? That there is some issue an entity here creates. Though there are existing laws which will help him out, it is not straightforward for him, right? So can we first start with maybe consumer protection laws, right? So these are the areas that we can address, right? And these are the areas we have also been representing a lot, pushing the government to bring in something. Now, but there are certain laws or regulations which have the potential to really kill the industry, right? Or create a scenario wherein the industry moves out of India and the foreign entities are being actually incentivized. The taxation and especially the TDS what was implemented here created such a scenario wherein a lot of Indian customers they moved out of Indian exchanges and they started trading in the international exchanges. The only reason being, here if they trade, we'll be deducting a 1% TDS. If they trade in the international exchanges, they don't have a 1% deduction in TDS, right? So it creates an uneven, playing field. There's no level playing field here, right? So, and by doing this, unnecessarily we have also incentivized a foreign entity. Now, why should we incentivize a foreign entity, right? So that's the area where an actual intervention immediately is needed, right? Where we don't create a disparity because of taxation, right? So usually we notice it even in interstates when one state has a higher tax than the other state within India itself. You'll suddenly see a lot of illegal stuff flowing from the one state of other,
True,
right?
true. Yeah.
It is an age-old story, right? Starting from different products. So that's the same thing that has happened, right? Now, so what should an ideal thing to be done is we are also losing tax money. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the tax money can be gained, it can be earned. The first area of intervention should be in the form of taxation. The larger regulatory setup, we are still, we understand that fact. It is not easy. It should be taken, on a phased manner. And that we are noticing where the government is open. The government is definitely discussing. They're definitely, frankly, the Indian government on the different categories of crypto, types of crypto, they have much more deeper knowledge than any other government, right? And
Hearing this
even
from a lot of quarters. Yes.
yeah. So and see, as a matter of fact, with the recent FIU, us getting registered into FIU, there's a lot of close coordination in terms of working to stop money laundering and terrorist financing, right? Now, one of the biggest thing that they kept targeting the crypto industry was on this, like crypto being used for money laundering and terrorist financing.
Mm-hmm.
The FIU coming into picture and onboarding crypto entities has actually directly answered this big question. Right now, we as crypto entities are also part of making sure that this issue is getting resolved. Right now we are part of this, the whole engine which is trying to work good for the nation, right? Rather than keeping us aside and trying to blame us. So this move was great, right? Now this has to just continue in the form of other regulations, right? So initially we thought us getting into FIU itself is going to be a really tough thing, right? Would they onboard the crypto entities, right? But it happened, and as a matter of fact, the process and system and all the knowledge that we have gained over the past year or year and a half has just been tremendous,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So the larger regulation has to play globally, right? When it plays out globally, there will be a lot of rub-off effect in the Indian ecosystem, right? So what happens in the US will definitely have a greater impact in India, right? Would we be the forefront runner in doing a lot of things? It's not necessary to be, right? Unless and until we handle the key areas. Again, taxation is a key area, consumer protection is the next key area. If we check these 2 points, at least to begin with, right, the rest can take its time. It's still okay.
There are 2 points very, very well taken. I just hope that the regulators are listening and taking notes of this. This is a real sort of heartfelt kind of message coming from a founder. But tell me one thing from a more sort of taking a larger view on this entire regulation. If crypto industry were again to sort of become regulated and have this set of checks and balances in the larger realms, it kind of becomes antithesis to sort of the entire starting point on how it began, right? Because you like it or not, the minute one regulation, the one sliver of regulation starts coming in, very soon you will start finding yourself into a box of checks and balances, compliances, and pretty much like the way mutual fund industry is regulated, pretty much like the way the stock market industry. I was talking to somebody on this podcast, and he's also a bootstrapped exchange out of Chennai, and he was telling me that Friday is nightmarish for us because you never know what SEBI sort of comes with,
Yeah.
right? For a fintech founder. So very soon, it starts with one set of regulation, but it can actually become like that also pretty soon. So it becomes antithesis, especially to the crypto industry, because the entire premise of starting this was that we are decentralized, right?
Yeah. So let me put it this way. Now, what we want regulated is centralized entities like us in this ecosystem, right? I'm a centralized entity. I'm not a decentralized entity. I should get regulated. Every centralized entity who is using the service of the crypto industry should get regulated. Regulated to the level of how SEBI is regulating, all the equity market and other debt market and all in the industries, right? We should get regulated to that level. What should not get regulated, or which is already regulated, is a decentralized ecosystem. Decentralized doesn't mean that there are no rules there. The rules are made by the people who are part of that ecosystem. That should not get regulated by the general regulatory setup, and it is not possible to do that. Right? See, there is one thing called, is it possible? I mean, if I get into the argument of, can a decentralized project get a regulator, centralized regulator? The moment that happens, the project value will go to zero because the project has nothing special there, right? And so what will happen? There will be another project which will get created, which is decentralized, which is like a parallel economy without the regulators' intervention. So any push in trying to regulate decentralized projects will create a parallel economy. Right now, what has happened here when the crypto entities had a differential taxation, the people did not, everyone did not come and pay the tax and use the Indian entity. They found another parallel way of working it out with a foreign entity, right? So a parallel economy will get created, which is not something the regulators will want. So what we are talking here is centralized entities like Giottus, any other exchange who's centralized, right, should have a regulator. There is no way that we should be running without a regulator. But all the decentralized projects, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they don't need a regulator, right? They're self-regulated.
So some bits will be self-regulated, and some like centralized agencies like yours need sort of regulation, right? So where do you think is the future of the crypto industry, in the sense that this entire argument of NFTs becoming the future of money, do you think is a valid argument? Do you think that can sort of really happen? Because I think even the major proponents of crypto are also treading this with caution. Like if you have 100 rupees, we are saying only put 3 rupees in crypto. Put the rest 97, put some in FD, put some in equities, put some in mutual funds. So we're also treading this with caution, because whilst there's optimism, there's also caution. So there's cautious optimism. That is the first question that I have for you. The second, and that could really be like the finale as we're in towards the end of this conversation, really, is that is UPI your biggest competition? The ease with which you made money exchange possible, digital money exchange, is that your biggest competition? Yes, Vikram.
Yeah. So the first thing is the stage that any industry is or any ecosystem is it's very important, right? Let's consider this. Now, RBA had introduced CBDC, right? Where they went live with the wholesale. they're yet to go live with the retail market completely, right? So why don't they go live with the retail market from day one? You don't, right? Because anything that you hit on a larger scale, you need a phased approach, right? Now, do I want retail investors to put in more than 2 to 3% when the prices are volatile? I don't want them to get it when the prices are volatile because there is a behavioral issue that comes in. See, for example, the other advice that we usually say is you only put your money that you don't need for the next 2 to 3 years, right? This is the same advice they even give for the equity markets, but the reason why I say here is much more different. Now, this market is currently volatile, right? So what it means is if you want the money on an urgent basis, or for example, if you had it for your kids' education, which is going to come in next 1 year, and you put it in crypto, then you are forced to take that money out exactly at the end of 1 year or before that 1 year. But what if the market is at the low at that point of time? This market should be considered like each cryptocurrency is like a software product, right? Now, each software should get an update which will push that use case to the next level, right? Ethereum should solve one problem because of which people think that, okay, Ethereum is amazing now. And few more people get on board and the price will increase. Now, can there be a software upgrade every 2 months? There will not be a software upgrade every 2 months. Or a considerable upgrade that will push the prices up, it will not be there. So, if you get into the ecosystem, you should have the patience of 2 to 3 years so that even with volatility, if you see the average or the trend line, you would see a growth of at least 100%, which has happened in 3 years time frame for crypto over all 3 years. At least 100% and above has been the growth. Now, if you don't do that, as a customer, you want to come and say that, hey, I want to put 50% or 60% into crypto, then ideally I'm really worried about the fact that, okay, then you will not be in a position to wait it out, right? So you come in with those funds where you're okay to wait it out because the moment if you think that you're using it for something else and not just for investing, then you will be timing, you will not be able to time the market well, right? Because this market is volatile. When the market is volatile and you want to exit the market, you would have to make sure that you time it well. Now, if you cannot time it well and you are taking a decision forced on your circumstance, you will not be able to earn good returns in this market. That is why we say to the retail guys, 2 to 3% stick to it, right? A big institutional guy, for him, this money, even if it goes, it will not be a big pain, right? But for a retail guy, if see, for example, if he has sold it at X month and within the next 3 months it has gone to 3x, he would have been in a loss because he wanted the money at that point of time, right? So you enter in at this point of time only with those funds that you don't need for the next 2 to 3 years because the market is volatile. In the next 5 to 6 years, what will happen? The volatility will reduce because more adoption will reduce the volatility in the market. When the volatility is there, then you keep increasing the percentage, right? So that is the ideal reason why we say that don't go beyond this. If you're going beyond this, just understand that you're a risk taker, right? You're entering in the high risk zone, which a lot of people would love to play in as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is for the first part, Shrija. So for the next part, UPA. Frankly, UPA is actually an enabler, right? We are, see, the biggest ecosystem or the biggest phase that is going to be there is where cryptocurrency and the existing fiat currency are going to coexist,
Yeah, yeah.
right? When it is going to coexist, you want someone with a strong technical capability, right? You don't want an age-old tech which is lying down there, which is going to coexist with you because no integrations will happen.
Mm-hmm.
UPA stack is really good in terms of integrations, right? Though we don't get a lot of support for UPA integrations, right? It is really for a coexisting scenario, UPA is the best to be there.
So I think that's a bit of a your sort of conversation with the India stack needs to happen on the integration and how sort of the two currencies sort of we need to sort of coexist. This entire conversation about digital rupee, where do you think it is going? And I think that would be a good time to sort of wrap up this conversation also. Do you really think that India is ready for digital rupee? And is it sort of a step in the direction of weaponization, right? Like you have the weaponization of dollar. in the global trade, right? Because that is why the US dollar exercises its influence, because it knows about 80% of the global trade happens in that. No matter how much the stock of de-dollarization keeps happening, I don't really see that going away anytime soon. But this entire digital rupee conversation, do you think that as a sovereign entity, India is also trying to exercise its power and influence in global trade?
Yeah, so I think it's no secret. We are any country, right? And it's much more important for us because China also is aggressive in that zone, right? We definitely want or should have a good say in the international markets, where if there is an opportunity that any currency or a fund that we have a say is the medium of exchange. It's a superpower kind of scenario, right? Now, every government would obviously want to work on that. Now, with the digital rupee, I see uh, two set of use cases, right? When you tokenize a rupee, the beauty with it is you can actually dictate where it can be used. Now, for example, let me give you an example, right? I tokenize rupee and I say that this token can be used only in the public distribution systems, in the ration shops. So the money that I'm going to give can be used only there. It cannot be used in a liquor shop or anywhere else. So I can direct where the money can be used. So tokenization of money is such a beautiful thing, right? If the digital rupee gets into retail in a bigger format, tokenizations will first play a bigger role in making sure that internally we have a lot of advantage of that, right? Now, obviously, there is a tech difficulty which is there. The scale or the number of transactions per second that has to be achieved is not yet in the traditional medium. It is not yet possible to achieve only with blockchain, right? Unless and until cryptocurrency also comes into being, right? Now, this understanding or this struggle of should we take also crypto or use only blockchain, this is the whole struggle that is happening in the whole innovation and adoption space. Now, if only with blockchain, only with existing blockchain players or softwares, if the transactions can be increased, the transaction per seconds can be increased, then we will see a good adoption, right? Or what is going to happen? See, generally how it works, an open source system will always innovate much more than a centralized system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. That's why we have much more of Android phones in our hand, right, than any other phone, right? Because it was open sourced, right? So the cost comes down, much more innovation happens. Now, that's where cryptocurrencies will definitely keep beating all these centralized companies who are trying to build, any blockchain project, right? As a matter of fact, what they also do is they just copy from what cryptocurrencies do, right? And they build this software. And what we also see with governments and other entities doing is trying to promote only blockchain, right? It is more like you're leaving the guy who's done the exam really well and trying to clap for the guy who copied sitting at the back and gained his marks, right? That's really how it's happening, right? Now, when the shift moves from directly giving credits to the crypto entity and then taking their innovations and then maybe implementing it with it, that's when you can see adoption internally. Now, external adoption, using it for trades,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's a much more than a tech game. It's much more than a tech game, right? Because the tech is there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you want to launch an INR stable coin, it is already there. You can just take the tech and then launch the INR stable coin, which could be used in international trades, right? But the worry has been, will they lose control, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of things there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of equations there. I think we had such a meaningful and such a beautiful conversation on so many subjects. I think who would have imagined that a cryptocurrency conversation could be so interesting? Because there's so much to know. I mean, the technology is evolving so quickly, and like you said, that the general kind of understanding is that the blockchain is the hero, but really cryptocurrency is one which is the real hero. and perhaps we're creating the wrong player here. I want to also spend about some 5 to 7 minutes understanding about Giottus, because we need to spend some time on the organization also. Where do you go from here in terms of your expansion plans, and are there any fundraising plans around the corner?
So we do have fundraising plans, right? Now, usually our strategy has also been to make sure that we enter during the right time, right? Or we raise funds during the right time, right? As a matter of fact, the base and the volume we have grown being bootstrapped, but no one in the Indian market or even the international market in the crypto ecosystem has replicated this, right? And we always wanted to make sure that we do it close to when the positive regulations will kick in, right? So ideally, we are hoping that a year or year and a half, the ecosystem here should be much better in terms of regulations, right? So ideally, that is where we are looking to see if we can raise funds, right? So that the investors can come without much of fear of what is going to have in this market, right? Which is much more important than anything else, right? Now, as an organization, we have been India focused. Our major market will be India, right? Though we are also having plans to expand internationally as an exchange, which should which may be within this year. We will be expanding to a couple of other regions in the world. But our major focus, our major key area will be the Indian market. Uh, Considering the fact again, though a lot of uh, crypto products gets launched worldwide, everyone makes their MAUs and DAU from the Indian customers, right? The adoption is much more greater here, right? So if you don't win the Indian market, it doesn't make sense winning any other market in the world, right? So we
Yes,
want to
that,
have that first mover advantage, make
yeah.
sure that when the regulations kick in, we are the major players here, and then start going aggressive on the other international markets.
So, how much are you looking to raise, Vikram? How much would that be?
So we are looking to raise somewhere around 20 million plus, right? Yeah, so that's the current plan.
And that will be around you just waiting for the regulations to come by and become more conducive, right? Because that is the fear of the VCs. I mean, people generally don't want to enter the markets or space which are regulated. But in the crypto space, a lot of players have got funded and very
Yeah,
huge valuations also.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah,
think
yeah.
you are in the right direction. And given that you have bootstrapped and come this far, I wish you all the best. But I must also do some rapid fire with you. Which has been your highest moment in your entrepreneurial career till now?
Fine. So after we launched, when the RBI verdict came in, and then we launched a new product, right? We had no clue if we are going to survive because we thought that if this doesn't work out, there's no way we can survive. But it worked, right? So that decision was something that made ourselves tap ourselves on the back that we have stuff, we can do it here.
Okay. And the lowest moment on entrepreneurial journey, which actually made you really rethink that are we in the right direction?
The regulatory hurdles that come in from the LEAs uh, is something that is much more higher in India than any other ecosystem in the world, right? That is very worrying, right? Though we have seen some amazing people who are doing a lot of work in trying to educate LEAs and other departments as well. But as an Indian entity which has to day in and day out coordinate with LEAs, that's a very tough job to do.
Thank you so much for this amazing, heartfelt conversation, really demystifying the myths surrounding the crypto ecosystem. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best on your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Srija. You made my job actually much more easier and comforting. I think this is one of those interviews where I didn't have to think through much and just talk my mind out.
That's how it should be, anyways.